Hey there, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am so excited that you're here. If you're one of my bounce back beauties and you've been following me for a while, thank you for coming back. It would mean the world to me if you would go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you have a girlfriend who could really use some inspiration, go ahead and share this video with her. I'm sure it'll make her day. And for you, here's your next video. Hey there, it's Jen, and we're going to talk about bouncing back and overcoming. And today we're going to talk about eyebrows. And what in the world do eyebrows have to do with reshaping your life? Well, come with me. We're going to talk about this today, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Why do you want eyebrows? Well, eyebrows like shape and frame your face. That way your eyelashes aren't like floating up into Never Never Land. It actually gives your face, when people look at you, it gives them some perspective, and it draws them into the center part of your face. So they're really actually very much overlooked and really important. And you kind of need a couple of tools to make them look their best. This color is actually fairly light as far as my eyebrow color goes, but this one is really good for shaping up in the front part here. So we don't have like a harsh stop and start line to our brow. It kind of naturally will fade in when we start with this one. And then you do want a bit of a darker product to get into more definition. And then I have this nifty little one that I want to share with you, because this one actually hangs onto the actual brow hairs and makes them darker. You can actually see them, kind of like if you've got the end of your eyelashes can be a little blonde. This one will make them stand out better. And I also have another little trick for you, that if you don't have a lot of hairs, don't worry about it. I've got something that will help you too. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so these products kind of reminded me of the different kind of voices that I had in my life when things were going really horribly. I had like one camp that didn't want to hear anything about anything. It was always, they had actually, without my knowledge, they had sided way ahead of time with my ex, because he had specifically groomed them to think things the way he wanted them to think about me. So they thought things about me based on his perspective, we'll say. So he had already planted seeds years and years in advance and cultivated that, so that should I say anything about, XYZ, or something to the effect of, I don't have any help and I do everything in our home. And, it gets overwhelming at times. I had a job, I had a baby. I went back to work when he was 6 months old, and I essentially had no help in the home because of the work my ex did. He was gone a lot of the time, most of the time. And when he was home, he was asleep. So there was not a lot of help at all. But he had groomed these people to think that I was lazy and that I didn't do enough and that he did everything. And nobody was in my home, so they wouldn't have known, truth or otherwise. So there were these people in my life. Then I had these people, a separate group of people outside of that circle. They didn't talk to the other circle. They just knew me and they didn't know him. So when he did certain things, like leaving phone messages, trying to explain what had happened at times, it made them look like he was crazy and like I was in big trouble. And they were people in my life that were like, oh, okay, now because there was a fair amount of serious drama, in the sense of there was 911 calls and he was arrested, and they kind of also didn't want to get too close because there was just a lot going on. So I had these different camps in my life, and then certain people showed up to help me just when I needed them to. And it's like they were kind of like angels plunked in my life by God, who just helped me. They served a purpose. And once that need was kind of gone, not in any negative way, we just didn't keep in touch anymore. And they just kind of fell out. Now I could call them tomorrow. We'd have a great chat and everything would be fine. They just weren't like super close, but they came into my life when I needed them. Because one of the biggest questions that I get is, Jen, how do I shape my eyebrows? What goes where? Where do you get the arch in? Where do they stop? Where do they start? And that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go over real quick and then I'm going to finish my story about who these people were while I actually do it so you can see how it's done. So the first thing you need to know is, where do they start? Where in the world are eyebrows actually supposed to start on our face? Okay, so you take your nice long anything, a pencil, ruler, whatever, doesn't matter, or your handy dandy eyebrow pencil. You line it up on this side of your nose right here, and you want to line it up with the corner tear duct in your eye here, okay? And when you line those two things up there and you pop it up here, and actually you can even cheat. See the little, I took the lid off of my eyebrow pencil. You want an eyebrow pencil that is really nice and pointy so that when you use it, it just looks like little hairs. Okay, so you line it up from the outside of your nose, corner of your eye, and as it comes up, so when I do that, you can see, so I've lined it up with the corner tear duct of my eye, corner of my nose, and if I just pop the little dot right there, this is where my eyebrow is supposed to start. Okay, and then you can do that on the side. So this is where they are supposed to start. So you can see from mine that it's a little bit short. Okay, and then where is the arch supposed to be? Well, this again, you anchor your pencil at the corner of your nose and you want to go right through the black circle of your eye. So the angle is from the corner of your nose through your black circle and then straight up, and that's where it is. And the easiest way to do that, so you don't poke yourself in the eye, is line it up, go through, and you plunk your tips there. So now you can see this is where my arch is. And if you want to know where the top should be, so that you can pluck on the outside, you simply follow the same line, only you go to the top of your brow. Just want to make sure I do this right while I'm watching the camera so that you guys can see. And this is where the arch should be, on the top part of your brow. So if you're cleaning up on the top, you want to aim up there. And then where do they end? Over here. So over here, now again, you line up the outside with the outer corner of your eye to the tip of your brow. Okay, so hang on, I need a mirror for this, because I will be poking myself. Okay, so outer part of your nose, follow the line, and you can just drop a little dot there. And that is where they should end out here. Okay, now you have a landmarked. So now you know they start here, your arch should be here. This is where they arch on the upper part. And this is where they taper to the end. And it is a line all the way from your nose straight, okay? That's also the line that if you do any wings in your eyeliner, they should go there. Okay, so so the other tip to do this is with your blonde. Everyone should have a lighter shade of eye pencil. So for me, it's blonde. If you have really dark ones, you can dark eyebrows because you have dark hair, then you can do like a dark brunette color. That works too. You just want like one shade lighter than what the regular shape or shade would be. And then all I'm going to do is just fill this in. Okay, so you're probably dying to know where I met sort of like these outside voices. How did they come into my life? So all you want to do is this just fills in the front part here in a really natural, without having a harsh line. And it's subtle, and that's okay. It's allowed to be subtle. We don't want, again, like, you don't want to look like you drew on your eyebrows. But if you can see, this one already has more shape than this one already. And even though it's not like a significant difference, it gives it a bit of a shadow. And that's exactly what you want to start your eyebrow. Okay, Now the rest, I'm going to use my darker shade, and I'm just going to follow along and create a nice crisp line, both on the bottom and the top. And I'll tell you where God sent these awesome people into my life. Through my business, we had all been reading, it's funny, through different communities, through my church group, we ended up reading certain books. Through my business community, we were reading other books. And anyway, we were reading this one book, and this guy actually put on like live seminars, like live events. And so I went to a couple of them that were local. And it was a lot about like mindset, money, how we think about things, and a lot about like our limitations, and how we think and how we see ourselves and our perspective can really determine, the risks that we're willing to take and risks that we're not willing to take. Different personality styles. There you go. You can see that that's got a nice clean arch, and it's just a little bit more cleaned up, a little more defined. If you like the control of the brow pencil, you can go ahead and use it with little strokes and literally draw in your eyebrows. And that's a perfectly acceptable technique too, especially here. You can just start to really gradually blend it in to the light shade that we put at the front there. I'm going to start at just a little bit back here, and I'm just going to fill in the top line. Through this, my business community, I ended up taking a course. And so we went out into the mountains. I actually went more than once. I went twice, did two different things that we were working on. This happened to be the first course that I went to. And there it was like full on, ropes courses, and like we were hanging up in the trees way higher than like 2 feet off the ground is like too much for me. I don't like heights. You put me in an airplane because I have a solid thing on my feet. I'm not teetering and gonna fall off something. Somehow airplanes, in my mind, airplanes are fine. I could probably even do like a hot air balloon. That's probably okay too. Maybe a little sketchier. It's a little less, enclosed and secure feeling. But put me up in, ropes between trees, and not really my thing, especially with the one exercise we had to do. We literally had to walk from on a rope. I think it was a board. It was a board strung between two trees. And so it wobbled. It wasn't like a solid board. It wobbled. Anyway, all these things way outside my comfort zone. And when we were done with this course, we learned a lot. Oh my goodness, had we ever grown, done a lot of personal growth. And I met a lot of really great people, none of which were in my regular, repertoire of people. They came from all over North America. Other than what we went together or did together on this course, we didn't actually know each other. These people had come from all over, had done the course with us. We just really clicked, we meshed, and we didn't want to lose the momentum that we had created at this course. When you're in a bubble and you learn something, it's a really special environment, and then you leave and the support system is gone and the environment isn't there. And it's harder to, like, when you go to the gym and you've got like your workout outfit on and other people are working it out, you're like, you work a little harder because you're like, all right, like we're in this thing together. And then you go home, like if you had to jump on the treadmill there and you're like, okay, yeah, like, okay, come on, we can do this. I think that's why like Peloton or whatever has got the screen, and you can join kind of whatever class you want to class, whatever vibe you're going for. You can do that because it creates an environment. You immerse yourself in that. And we wanted to have that when we went home. So we made like a mastermind group. I think in the beginning, we literally talked on the phone every week. Every week we had an hour where we met up and we compared our stories, how life was going when we're back in the real world, trying to implement the things that we had learned while we were away. And I really grew to appreciate and love the group and love the people in there. They could say things to me that my average friend, family member, people that knew me probably couldn't get away with saying, right? Like we had hung at the top of treetops together. We'd been dunked in like freezing cold glacier fed rivers together. Like we done some stuff. We were up at 6 o'clock in the morning, doing our stretching in our big tent, and we were rocking it out at midnight, still going strong. We slept for 3 hours. We didn't shower. Like we just knew each other on a different level. And so they could say things to me that I'd be like, oh, okay, I could see how you might think that. Hmm. Maybe that's not quite the right color either. I think I'm going to go back to my old faithful here and just see. I recently had my hair done, and still not sure totally how I feel about all of that. It was a bit of a change too, but that's okay. We can just roll with things and go with it. All right. So this product has got fibers in it. It actually coats the hair that you have. So you do need some eyebrow hair to make this product work. Now it can be thin because this actually makes it thicker and it keeps it in place. So if you kind of have like really unruly eyebrows and they like to go wherever they want, this acts like a gel and it will keep them wherever you put them. So you can tell them what to do. Anyway, these people were amazing in my life. And they were the ones that, as we were talking and going through working back into our life, they were the ones that were like, see what? You have to do what? What happens in your home? And they were the ones that were like this outside voice with a different perspective that really helped to shape my life. And like we did with our eyebrows here, we took what was already there, we just cleaned it up, refined some places, defined some extras, plucked, maybe we have to remove a few things, kind of just like life, just like these people helped me do. And they were the ones that really helped me see that I really did live this, existence that wasn't quite, there were things going on that weren't, there were things going on that weren't quite right and should not be happening in my life and my children's lives. And I really valued their perspective because they weren't afraid of my reaction. They weren't afraid to say anything. They also weren't invested as to whether my family stayed together or not. And so they had nothing to lose when it came to having these conversations. It was kind of in that sense like group life coaching, I guess you could say. Don't get the product in your hair. It's not supposed to. Well, actually, during recent lockdowns, I had heard of friends who were using it, the eyebrow gel to cover a couple of the grays. But hey, never heard that from me. But if you need any help with that, I can help you with that too. Okay, so this was before, this is after. Before, no shaping. After, with a little bit of help, just a more defined. Now you can see kind of the difference from my face. It's just a more well defined. So anyway, these people really helped me see some of my blind spots. We all have blind spots in life. We all can't always see, especially when we are in tough places, or we need to make a really big change that we're not too entirely sure how to make. It really helped to have an outside voice. If you would like to have a conversation about how coaching might help you, or that you need a group support like that, I have a link in the comments below, in the description below, and reach out to me through there, book a time, and we'll have a chat. And I would love to see if there's anything, a place where you need some clarity. I needed some clarity to know and be able to identify what really wasn't working. Why wasn't it working? And it's really was that outside voice, especially in the really intense situation that I was in. And you might not be in that intense kind of situation. I really hope that you're not actually. It was a tough place to be. But with the right people in your corner, the right people who are on your side, you can make all kinds of, you can do tough things. You can do hard things when you have the right knowledge, the right people in place. And I hope that these little snippets of my story have shown you that you really can make some significant changes in your life. You really can make your life better. My life is completely different. now than it was then. If this video has helped you have better eyebrows, maybe have a better thoughts or feelings about your perspective, or knowing that you can on purpose put people on your team that are going to cheer you on, that are going to help you get the perspective that you need to take you wherever it is that you want to go, to make whatever change it is. It might be a small change. It might be a small change you've just been, because of circumstances, been struggling with, or it might be a big change. Like I redid my whole life, and you don't necessarily need to make that kind of change. But no matter where you're at, it's always nice to have somebody there that is cheering you on. So drop any of your comments if you've made big changes before. Let us know how that went, and I'll be back, and we'll be talking about another life change and another story from my pennies to pearls story. That's what we've been talking about. How do we bounce back? How do we overcome? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.